Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are actually now having a webinar titled Mental Health Awareness in the Time of COVID-19. We have two panels today, Prof. Sharil and also Dr. Azlina from UITM. Do you wish to start now or shall we wait for another minute?
I guess we can proceed.
All right. You're okay, Dr. Azlina? Okay. We are grateful to Allah for giving us this His blessing to be able to meet up again with two prominent figure in counselling and psychology with the purpose of helping the postgraduate and general viewers on how to handle mental health problems, stress, particularly during the pandemic. We have been locked for almost 2 years, and I understand all the feelings. I can feel you actually, but before I drifted away with my sharing, I would like to introduce our panelists today. We have our Professor Dr. Hasli Sharil Abdullah. Started as a teacher in 1977. Wow, I was 6 years old by then. After graduating from Malayan Teacher College Penang, he is a Penangite, obtained his bachelor's and master's degree in counselling from UPM and later PhD in counselling from UM. I guess later after that he joined UM as a lecturer in 1996 and served there until 2014. He joined USIM as a professor in 2015 until now. His area of expertise is mental health counselling, family counselling, and addiction counselling. This is very interesting. He delivered his inaugural lecture on acceptance, forgiveness, and gratitude, a counselling trilogy for personal psychological well-being on January 6, 2021. He was named as Tokoh Counselling in year 2016, and he is the fellow for Perkama International 2018. Very short and sweet. That's how he wants to be introduced. We will know more about him later. And our second panelist is Dr. Agdinawati Nikmat, an associate professor and consultant clinical psychologist at Faculty of Medicine, University Technology Mara. She is very loyalist to UITM with over 10 years of experience in the clinical field. She had her first degree in biomedical science from UKM and completed her postgraduate study at University of Melbourne, Australia, where she received Doctor of Philosophy in Psychology, concentrating in clinical psychology. Her expertise includes providing psychological assessments and psychotherapy to both child and adults. She is very much into voluntary work, active in Mercy Malaysia Association, many psychological support programs, including high-profile cases as per in MH17 and MH370 incidents. Also deployed to international missions such as Cox's Bazar and Palu, Indonesia to provide psychosocial support. And she has been offered to become an external stress counsellor. Wow. Perhaps one of you would love to PM her for this. For the UN offices in Malaysia since 2017, and she also provides consultancy to WHO office in Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, we have two important prominent figures who are very well versed in our topic today, which is mental health awareness in the time of COVID-19. We shall start with Prof. Shahril, as per what he requested to be introduced and called for. With the first question, we are now in the third wave of pandemic COVID-19. I may add also that we are actually in the most critical time where there's Delta variant, there's Delta Lambda, and so others, which is airborne, which is more dangerous. Now, it's not the matter of those above 60, but even babies and newborn babies. So, Prof. Shahril, why is it that mental health issues now are rampantly reported not in the first or second wave? Why it has been highlighted now, not from the beginning? Please, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Datin Ismailina. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now, to the question as to why now that the mental health issue is being highlighted during this third and fourth wave compared to the first and second wave. Now, it all started last year in March. We began to be locked down, and then, people are being retrenched. Unemployment rate was going up, and then people have experienced loss of income. Simply put, more and more people are becoming broke now. They are struggling to put food on the table for the family. Okay, so and the situation don't seems to improve. More and more people are being retrenched. More and more people are facing unemployment. Employment opportunities are becoming more difficult to secure. So the physiological needs of the people are being difficult to meet their physiological needs. So when you have physiological needs that are not met, meaning to earn a living, to make a living, if you have that stress, it will spill over to your psychological well-being. Now, when you are unwell, it can become psychosomatic. Okay, so when people are broke, now we have a group of people who are broke, and then we have another group of people who are broken. Broken meaning there is a loss of life direction, probably. They feel lost. Okay, they feel gripped by fear, anxiety, hopelessness. They can't find a way out. So much so that their psychological condition is really worrying if steps are not taken to remedy it, to rectify it. Okay, so now when a person is broke and then broken, it's like a double assault. You can't live, you can't make a living, and you are also broken. That is really a very difficult situation to handle. Okay, of course we can't deny the fact that there are people who are not broke, but yet they are broken. Yeah, there are people who make a decent living, yet they are also broken inside. Okay, now when we talk about physiological needs, it's observable, it's measurable, and most of the time it can be resolved, or it can be solved if you have the means, the money. So it's an issue of money matter. If you can get the money in, the physiological needs can be overcome. I think this aspect is being taken care of. I mean, the white flag campaign and whatnot is really an initiative to try to overcome people who are really broke now, who can't even put food on the table. that is a very good initiative, and we have to really give credit to the various NGOs and also some government agencies. They are providing food aid to the needy, to those who are really broke. But for those who are broken, this is something very abstract. Only those who are trained are able to detect who are those who are psychologically broken. It's something very intrinsic, very intrapersonal. Now, who are those who are broken? I would view it from the psychological needs perspective. They are, if the psychological needs are not fulfilled or are not met, then your psychological well-being will be in question. Now, the first psychological needs is sense of belonging. Do you feel belong? To what extent you feel belong? In the postgraduate students context in UITM, I mean the audience that we are addressing now, okay? How much they feel belong to UITM? How much they feel cared for? How much they feel loved? How much they feel respected by the university? Of course, we can't demand love, respect from others. We need to earn the respect, the love. The way we behave, will decide, will determine whether people will love us, people will care for us, people will. It's a reciprocal process. We can't demand, we can't command others' respect on us. It's a matter of how it's a two-way thing. Okay? Now, so sense of belonging. Imagine if a person don't feel belong at all, don't belong to any family, don't belong to any religion, they will be adrift, they will be aimless. Okay? So I think we need to check. We have to make sure that those under our care do feel that sense of belonging. And this is actually make up of love, compassion. Okay, you feel love. Okay, you feel people are compassionate on you. Okay, and people show kindness on you. People are great. People are merciful on you, and people are also gracious on you. These are all humanity values. Okay, when you are talking about dehumanization is rampant nowadays, there are people who are being dehumanized simply because people have already lost their control. They believe that the end justifies the means. Okay, they will go all out to achieve what they want, but how they achieve it, they have already put aside all the value system, all the moral compass has already been cast aside. So that can breed a lot of unhappiness. That would breed a lot of unhealthy relationships. When unhealthy relationships are widespread, you can imagine the mental well-being of the people involved. Okay, that is first sense of belonging. Now, second psychological need is power. If you feel you feel empowered and you feel powerless, which would be a positive, which will do you good to your mental health. Okay, definitely for those who feel powerless or overpowered by the authority, that would definitely breed a lot of negativity in one's mind, heart, and soul. Okay, so it's a matter of empowering or overpowering. Do not make people feel powerless. Okay, when a person feels powerless, put yourself in that situation. How are you going to respond to that situation when people make you feel powerless? If the university were to behave in such a manner that they overpower the students, they enforce rules and regulation without considering the students' situation, I think that would definitely affect the students' mental well-being. Okay, that is power. Number 3 is freedom. Freedom here, that means They are given the freedom to choose, freedom to decide. Okay, we are not talking about absolute freedom here. We are talking about at least you provide opportunities for students to decide, for them to make their own decision. Of course, it has to be informed, rational decision that needs some guidance. Yeah, and then number 4 is fun. Fun. Fun is the energizer. If you in a day, you go through a day without experiencing any joy and fun, wow, that can be quite pathetic, isn't it? So these are the 4 psychological needs that need to be catered for. If we are the superior, we need to take care of our subordinates' psychological needs. Otherwise, it would have negative effect on the mental health of our subordinates. Now, when we talk about mental health, it's a matter of looking at yourself. Are you comfortable? Are you happy with yourself? Generally, how comfortable, how loving are you with your own self? Look at yourself. Look into yourself. If I were to ask you to put a rating scale on your acceptance and your how comfortable you are with yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate yourself? Ascending scale. 10 means you are really comfortable with yourself. You accept yourself. Okay. Number 2 is how comfortable and how acceptable are you with other people? Earlier on is more on intrapersonal, your intrapersonal well-being. Okay. Next is interpersonal well-being, how you relate, connect with other people. Okay. Do you make people feel comfortable with you? Do you make people feel respected? And it would be reciprocal. Okay. That is the second point. Intrapersonal, interpersonal, and number 3, when we talk about mental health, is about your personal functioning level. Are you able to perform? Are you able to carry out your roles and responsibility as expected? Okay, so that is how probably you rate your mental health status on a scale of 10. Intrapersonally, what is your rating? Interpersonally, what is your rating? And your personal functioning level, what is your rating? Now, when we talk about mental health status, we are talking about personal functioning level is one criterion that is being given a lot of emphasis now. There are people who, when we experience neurosis, definitely there is some level of malfunctional situation. We malfunction, whether it is prolonged or it's just a short period of time. Now, from malfunctioning, if steps are not taken to remedy or rectify, it can deteriorate to dysfunctional, and that would be a long call. Okay, I think I should stop there for the time being.
Thank you, Prof. Well, it was a little bit more technical on the neurosis, dysfunctional, malfunctional, but I guess we will start to understand further as we go along the journey. Dr. Adlina, the impact, knowing that you have done a lot of providing psychosocial support in voluntary and also I believe very strongly in UiTM, how do you see the causes of mental health problems, particularly among the university students in general and among the postgraduate students in particular?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Marina. Okay, I agree with what Prof. Hasli mentioned just now. He mentioned about few things, like the feeling of powerless, the feeling of isolated from the society, from your friends and things like that. So we know that, okay, at first when pandemic hits, so we were surprised and we were ready to fight this phenomena and things like that. But after a while, because it continues, you know, like from first phase and then MCO, EMCO, CMCO, and all the acronyms, and with different rules. So even we don't know, okay, so if it is MCO, then what does it mean? If it is CMCO, what does it mean? You know, too many things for us to understand, to follow, and we become fed up. As for university students, okay, now you have to register, and then you come for a week, for 2 weeks. Okay, now you have to go back. Okay, come back again. You know, all this uncertainty. Okay, uncertain about the future, uncertain about what's going to happen for the final year student, whether I can get a job after this, you know, whether whatever that I learned, especially during my final year, is it like good enough? Can it equip me, okay, for me to find a job after this? So all these questions, all these concern for postgraduate students, especially those doing research, of course, I understand this definitely will interrupt your data collection phase. You know, like you cannot go out to collect data. So all the things that you have planned out for 1 year, 1.5 years, suddenly have to change. Even your methodology have to change. You know, so all these things can cause a lot of stress. So if this situation is only like, you know, like for 6 months, you know, you have to deal with this, and then after that, you know, things will be okay. So at least that gives you certain confidence or control over what I can do, what I need to do after this. But the pandemic that currently hits us, it does not give us that answer, that confidence, because we don't know, you know, like whether this going to take, we thought it's going to take 1 year, and suddenly it's already 1.5 year. Okay, we thought it's going down, suddenly it's going up. We thought vaccination is the answer, but then, well, no. So when we think about, you know, this is not only applicable for the students, I mean, this is general population. We try a lot of things. We try to stay at home. We try to wear masks. We try to wear double masks. We try to wear face shield. And we go outside just one people, and then a lot of things. And when this keep on continue, it just make us as a human feel frustrated and feel powerless, like what Prof. Hasli mentioned just now. Okay, which of course can impact the psychological, can give effect to the psychological well-being of an individual. Okay, especially we know how important is social connectedness. Okay, social relationship with other people. You know, study shows that hugs, okay, can actually improve our immune system, because it shows that when we touch, when we hug, when we cuddle, holding hands, so our body will release a feel-good hormone like oxytocin, serotonin, all these good hormone. So that's why, you know, when we feel down, sometimes when we say to our friend, I feel down today, like, and then your friend comes and hug you, don't you feel a little bit better? You feel better, right? Because this touch, okay, this social connectedness actually proven that it releases a good hormone in our body. Okay, a hug that about 6 seconds can boost your immune system, can release all these good hormones and make you feel good. Okay, so with this restriction where you have to stay at home, you cannot touch people, I mean, you cannot touch your friends and things like that. So it limits that. It gives a restriction in that. So probably what you can do is actually start hug your kids at home. Make it a practice. At least 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and see whether that give a difference, okay, in terms of your mood and your psychological well-being. Yeah, maybe that's all for my sharing for now.
Okay, may I take on from what Dr. Azlina has just touched on about hugs. Well, to me, that is what I know. I call it a stroke. Okay, a stroke. Now, the physical stroke, if you are physically present, yeah, you could give a hug, cuddle, kisses, and whatnot. That would definitely give a lot of good feelings. Yeah, as you mentioned, the positive hormone will be secreted and will make you feel good. But if we are physically apart, distance, maybe we can still provide the positive stroke by maybe through, social connectedness. If you can be physically, that would be ideal. But the real situation now is we still need to provide that stroke, at least to make them feel that we care for them, we love them. You reach out, the supervisor reach out to the supervisee to show that you still care. Being feel cared for is something uplifting instead of feeling abandoned by the supervisor, by the university, for children being abandoned by the parents, or the rakyat being abandoned by the government. So that kind of stroke, we need to provide that positive stroke. Yeah, ideally, if we can do it physically, otherwise, at least we can provide it like using our words. Yeah, through messages, text messages, that would at least, not to say it would, what do you call it, replace, at least it can provide some impact for our students or for our loved ones.
Thank you, Dr. Aldina and Prof. Sharil. Before I proceed, may I remind our beloved viewers, if you have any questions, kindly leave them at the chat box and we will try to answer them. Please do care to remember that we are having this webinar is to help you, which is we wish to feed you with things that is required by you, not something that very theoretical that you can read over Google or from your books. Talking about about social connectedness, I do not know whether Prof. Sharil or Dr. Aldina can answer this. Well, it has been a habit, a culture among the youngsters, and I believe our postgraduate students are also the youngsters among the category. They are so used into media social. And some even feel that the connectedness with human being is not so important to them. They spend more time over social media, they spend more time in front of their tab, their iPad, their laptop, and they can survive. But why is it now, during the pandemic, that they also have similar problem regardless of their non-connectedness with human being before? Anyone?
Okay, when we talk about social connectedness, of course, if we are physically present, yeah, it's easier compared to when we are physically apart. But that doesn't mean that when you are physically present, you feel connected. There are people in the house, but they feel disconnected with one another in the house. So it's a matter of how you manage the relationship to make. Again, I will go back to the first psychological needs, the sense of belongingness. Okay, the sense of belonging. If you feel belong, then there is this connection. When there is connection, then communication can flow. Yeah. So when the communication flow well, a lot of things can be resolved. When you are in difficulty, that you communicate because you are well connected. Yeah, communication is open, so things can be resolved with effective communication. Okay. However, if we are physically apart, that doesn't mean that there will be disconnected. It's a matter of how you feel inside you. Do you feel good? Do you feel belong? Do you feel cared for? Do you feel intimate with the significant others in your life, especially? Okay. if there is this sense of intimacy and connectedness inside you, physical presence is not really the issue. So sense of belonging, I will still go back to the basic psychological needs of love and belonging. Okay. So if you feel love, that means you feel connected. If you don't feel love, then there could be disconnection. Over to you, Dr. Azlina. Maybe you want to add?
Well, if I understand correctly, you say that even those teenagers or young people who like to spend more time on social media feel affected by this condition. Is it that thing? Okay. So, well, it depends on how about that person. You know, like I believe although they like to spend more time on social media, doesn't mean that they don't like to spend time with people. So of course, they also feel affected by this situation about the social distancing. Okay, because it's not like they totally isolate themselves even before the pandemic. It's just that they prefer to spend time on the social media, connecting and commenting using social media and so on. So there are also times before the pandemic where they go out, see their friends and things like that. So um, although theoretically, I assume the people who like to isolate themselves, I mean, don't really engage with people much, spend more time on social media. I think they are less affected compared to those who are outgoing, who has an outgoing extrovert personality. You know, like people, we have extrovert, introvert personality. So the extrovert personality probably will feel more about the social distancing thing compared to those with introvert personality. Yeah, that's my take on this issue lah.
Yeah, I do agree with what Dr. Azlina has just said. For the extroverted, before the pandemic, I think they are free. They can run free. But now that with the lockdown, they are being confined to their home and very limited movement and so on. So that is a huge struggle and adjustment. With any changes, with any adjustment, definitely there will be stress. Okay, so how they manage the stress so that stress does not worsen and prolong. So when there is stress, definitely you feel affected. This is where probably I would like to introduce the concept of resilience here. Okay, when you are stressed, your personal functioning level will go down. So when your personal functioning level goes down, how are you going to pick yourself up? The quicker you pick yourself up, the quicker you make that U-turn, yeah, the better it is for you. But if the small U and a big U, the line that it creates is the time frame that it's going to take, and also the energy that is going to be spent on making that U-turn. So that is something that we need to be aware of. Being resilient, that means you are very quick to pick yourself up to regain your normal function level. So maybe a workshop can be conducted on that itself, how to enhance your personal resilience. Yeah. So some people, when they are stressed, their personal functioning level going down and down and down. You know, they don't have the coping strategy to pick themselves up. That is where the people around them need to be aware, and if they don't seek help, help needs to be given. Okay, somebody has to step in to provide the help. Otherwise, the person will spiral down into depression, and sometimes it may even go to suicide level.
Okay, so this will come to our next question. How do we know that we are having this mental stress or mental problem, or how do we monitor our mental health?
I think I have touched a little bit on it earlier on when we talk about mental health. Your intrapersonally, intrapersonally, how do you feel about your well-being? Okay, are you aware? Of course, some people, when they are in that state of mind or situation, they are no more aware of their condition, their situation. Hopefully, it doesn't reach that level. As it is, we are still normal. We are just experiencing some form of neurosis, which is quite normal. Every one of us are neurotic because
Prof,
we
what
have
is neurosis?
neurosis is any psychological disturbances that make you feel not good and your personal functioning is affected, but you are still normal. You still perform, but your performance is not optimum. Okay, so these neuroses, there are five. I categorize them into five neuroses. One would be phony. Phony, you still pretend now that you are retrenched, your lifestyle, previously your lifestyle was 5 star. Now that you are retrenched, you still want to put on a facade to live a life of 5 star lifestyle, or you want to be upfront now that I'm retrenched. Okay, I need to adjust. I need to maybe lower down my life maintenance cost and whatnot. So, do you want to be genuine or not about your situation? Instead of covering up, put on a facade, that is a struggle. Okay, so that is going to affect your personal functioning level. Yeah, phony. You are not genuine. You are covering up a lot of things. You try to cover up. You are always on the lookout whether people will know your true situation, your real situation. Okay, that is phony. Next would be phobic. Phobic is fear. Fear. You are in fear of your future, as Dr. Aslina mentioned, as postgraduate students. Now, after you are almost there, you are about to graduate, you are anxious, you are fearful of your future. Will there be a job waiting for me? Will I be unemployed for years and years, like so many unemployed graduates now, close to 500,000 now? So these are, creating a lot of uneasiness in the heart and mind and soul of many people, especially the postgraduates. Yeah, so that is phobic. Phobic is also related to inferiority complex. You are fearful of failure. Yeah, you don't have the gut and courage to take risks, to venture out, to try. So you are so fearful, so much so that you keep yourself in. All right, so that is phobic. Next will be impasse. Impasse is something about indecision. You can't decide. Ambivalent situation, neither here nor there. When you are caught in that situation, imagine, should I continue pursuing, finish up my postgraduate degree, or should I abandon it now because I'm already broke, my family is already broke, I need to help out to at least help to find food, to put food on the table. I mean, these are the struggles. You know, indecision, you are caught in a bind, whether to proceed or to hold on. Okay, so indecision, and that is taking up a lot of our psychic energy. Yeah, and next would be implosion. Implosion is keeping it in. People who keep things in, the introverted. Yeah, Dr. Aslina, the introverted, they tend to keep things in. They don't show up, and these are the neglected ones. They don't seem to have any trouble, but everything is brewing inside, imploding inside, eating them up from within. This is serious matter. The introverted are the ones who are often neglected. Yeah, and then the last one will be explosion. Those who are extroverted, those who are ill-tempered, hot-tempered, they lash out at people, creating a lot of unhappy relationships. So these are all issues or psychological situations that need attention and that need intervention so that we can put life situation on the right track again.
Okay, Dr. Shahril.
Yep.
Okay. I thought I've lost you. Okay. Thank you for thank you for the elaboration. It was very interesting. But can we go back to Dr. Alvina? Can you share with us how do we handle mental health problem in our own self? Meaning, well, there are two categories of people. One, those who are, like you said, very extrovert. They are always reaching out to their friends, to their family. So when they have problems, they also talk to them. But we have also the other kind of people, the introvert, and so perhaps also who think that they should not share their secrets, their feelings with others, having fear that people will have the stigma of negative stigma on us. So, as someone who has been dealing with cases, how do you handle this? How do you do self treating for those who feel that oh, I need help, but I cannot rely to anybody to help me? Dr. Adina?
All right. Thank you for the question. Okay. First of all, I believe it's all about knowledge. Okay. Mental health literacy. Okay. First, we need to know whether this is normal. What we're experiencing, is it normal, or is it already go to that direction, heading towards mental health problem? Okay. So, how do we know what are the line? Okay, where is the line? Okay, when we talk about mental health, like what Prof Hasli mentioned just now, okay, stress is normal, being angry is normal, all these are normal emotions. Okay, you feel sad, that is normal. Okay, during the pandemic, you lost someone that's significant to you, that is normal. You got affected by pandemic, that's normal. You dapat COVID-19, that's normal for you to feel angry, to feel sad, frustrated. These all normal reaction in in this unusual situation. Okay, so it's normal. It's okay to feel that way. But when is it that you need help is when it started to affect your function, your daily function. It start to affect your job performance. It start to affect your study. It start to affect your relationship with those significant to you. Okay, you used to talk to your partner, to your spouse. But lately, for the past 2 weeks, 1 week, you prefer to isolate yourself. You don't talk to them anymore. Okay, you don't eat that much, or you eat more than usual. So, so these changes, like you don't sleep much or you sleep too much. So all these changes in your daily living, when it shows that something is not right. You better seek help. Okay, so yes, you are right, Datin, when you say that extrovert people probably more open to seek help or to talk to someone, to ventilate about their problem, their issues. But the introvert ones, they prefer to keep it to themselves, probably due to stigma, probably because they don't know that they actually need help. Okay, so my advice is that, okay, if you fear to seek help because of the stigma, okay, try to change your perception about that, because nowadays people are more open to talk about mental health. We have a lot of talking about mental illness, and not all mental illness, for example, like if you have depression, if you have anxiety, the doctor say that, oh, you have depression, you probably have anxiety, doesn't mean that you have to take medication. It really depends on the severity of your condition. So this understanding is very important. Okay, like not all mental illness is equal to crazy. Okay, the neurosis category that Prof Hasli mentioned now, okay, the anxiety, depression, so that fall under the neurosis punya category, where it can be treated with psychotherapy, and if in a severe condition, with medication as well. And doesn't mean that if you are started on medication, you have to take medication throughout your life. Sometimes when you get better with psychotherapy, with counseling, then you can take off from the medication. It happens. It can happen.
Dr.
Okay.
Adina,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt. I had several cases where they were prescribed medication. However, once they start the medication, they had this side effect of the medicine where they keep on sleeping. They cannot they cannot wake up on time for their classes. That gave them another stress, and some chose to not taking the medication. What do you think
Okay.
about that?
All right. Okay, we have to understand. Okay, that's why I say psychoeducation and knowledge is very important. Okay, and it is actually the role of the psychiatrist to educate the patient or the doctor to educate the patient about the medication. Okay, when you take something into your body, of course, your body will take time to recognize what is this thing, what is this substance. Okay, so that what cause the side effect because something alien get into the body, so the body need to adjust and get used to it. So it depending on type of medication, some medication take 2 weeks, some medication you have to take until 1 week, or some medication just 2 3 days, then after that you will feel okay. This is the same with vaccination. When you get your first jab, that is like a foreign body substance in your body, so that's why we feel chills. Okay, some people feel like very fatigued. They want to sleep and so on. But we say that this is a normal side effect. After 72 hours, you will feel okay because our body already get used to that. So the same goes with the medication. So when we take a medication, antidepressant or anti-anxiety, depending on our body, so our body will react to the medication, and of course after a while, okay, our body will get used to it. Okay, let's say if the doctor say, okay, it will take about 2 weeks for your body to build tolerance towards this medication. After that, you'll be okay. But after 2 weeks, you still feel uh, you need to sleep. You still feel like not yourself. So you can always go back to the doctor and say, this is what I feel. I cannot concentrate. I feel sleepy. I cannot go to class. So I don't really like this medication, or probably this medication doesn't suit me. So they can discuss and change to other medication, to other type of medication. Probably that medication just now not suitable for you. Okay, but the other type of medication probably more suitable for you. So this discussion is very important between patient and also doctor, so that you can help each other. The doctor can help to treat patient properly, and patient also have to be open about whether they have any difficulties and so on. But the thing is, a lot of patients, when they don't feel comfortable with the medication, they just stop like that. So that's why the condition does not improve. Yeah.
All right. Okay, thank you, Dr. Azina. Dear viewers, if you are still listening, thank you so much for joining us today. Our purpose of this webinar talking about mental health awareness in the time of COVID is actually to share information, experiences, insights from our two prominent figures in counseling and psychology, to help us, to help you, to help every one of us on how to manage ourselves, manage in terms of our mental health condition, sharing on how that we can help the IPSIS, the UITM, the organization can help students and also in general the public on how to overcome and face the mental problem that we are experiencing. Prof. Sharil, if you can
Yes.
go next, looking into, just now we were looking into our own self. Let's go further, explore further into looking into problems that we might face, um, having our friends and all our family members having this mental health problem. In other words, how do we, in one situation, how do we a healthy health, normal mental positive individual to help the family members or friends who have this mental health problem. Or secondly, in second situation, it could be us having that kind of towards the journey, also experiencing the mental health problem, but we also see our friends and all our family members experiencing a more severe mental health problem. How do we handle this, Prof. Sharon?
Thank you, that is Malina. Okay, now first and foremost, you need to gauge your own situation. Are you in a position to provide help? Do you have the knowledge? Do you have the skills to help? Because we don't want situation whereby instead of helping, actually you are actually adding more or making situation worse. Yeah, knowledge and skills and your readiness and preparedness to help is important. So gauge yourself, gauge your situation. Are you ready? Are you prepared? Do you have the knowledge? Do you have the skills to render help? Okay, so if you are ready, if you are prepared, you have the knowledge and skills. First and foremost, when people are in that mentally unhealthy situation, now the connectedness is very important. How do you engage? How do you make them feel that you are with them instead of against them? Okay, so acknowledging and validating their situation is highly important. You need to acknowledge, you have to validate their feeling and situation so that they feel understood. They feel that you are with them. And then if you can go a step further, that you are there for them, then that would create a therapeutic working alliance whereby you can work things out together. It's a collaborative effort where there is trust and confidence, so and the other person is willing to open up the window, you know the hidden window, the window that they are hiding from others' knowledge. They are imploding. A lot of things are imploding inside, keep to themselves, brewing inside, eating them up inside. But once they have the trust and confidence in you, they will open up, they will share. When they share and you acknowledge, you listen to understand, not to reply. Listen to understand. When you listen, you show that you understand, you acknowledge, you paraphrase, you validate. That would encourage them, that would motivate them to share even further, deeper. Okay, when they are able to share further and deeper, it's going to be very cathartic. At least they have unloaded it. At least they have offloaded it. So they feel relief. They feel, so catharsis is achieved. So that is the least that we can do, even though the whole issue is not resolved. That is the first step. Meaning, you have to acknowledge and validate to make them feel that we are with them, we are for them. And when there is trust and confidence, they will open up. A lot of self-disclosures will be made. And from there, we will take it from there and work things out together. Okay, so that is if you are ready and you are prepared, you have the knowledge and skills. And the professional should have the readiness and preparedness to provide such a service. That is expected of the counselors and the psychologists and whatnot. Okay, but if you are on the receiving end, okay, you are inflicted with mental health issues, first and foremost, whether you have to ask yourself, Are you still in control of the situation? Are you able to cope with the situation? Are you able to manage the situation on your own? Some people, do you have the resources around you, support system around you that you can tap on to manage your situation? If you can, execute it, implement it. But if you can't, there are no resources around you, that is a time you need to reach out for help. Reaching out for help is not a weakness. Actually, it's a strength. Okay, so that is also the stigma, as earlier on Dr. Azlina mentioned. Yeah, it's a strength to seek help, professional help. Okay, so that now I always remind myself and also my students and my family, we are talking about self-love and self-compassion. Ask yourself, do you really love yourself? How much do you love yourself? If you love yourself, you wouldn't do things that bring harm to yourself. You would do things that would benefit, that would enhance your well-being, not detrimental to your well-being. So self-love and self-compassion is actually what I'm holding on to. Okay, if you love yourself, if you're compassionate with yourself, don't bother about what other people say. You just have to take good care of yourself. Once you have taken good care of yourself, you can contribute. I mean, that add value to yourself. You can be a contributor. You can contribute to others' well-being instead of you become a liability. Okay, so we are talking about you need to add value, make yourself an asset instead of a liability to your family or to others. I shall stop there for the time being.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Sharil. Dr. Alvina, now that we acknowledge that students are facing mental health problem during this pandemic, how can the university identify this individual in need of support? And representing the Faculty of Medicine, UITM, what are the initiatives available to help students who have mental health problem?
Okay. I think our Pusat Counselling and Kerjaya has been doing a good job in reaching out to students. We have quite a number of counsellors in your ITM, and these counsellors are assigned to different college, different faculty. So students can actually reach out to counsellors and then ask for session services. I think they also offer online counselling session and so on. You know, like for Faculty of Medicine, I mean, apart from that online session, they also have I also saw a lot of posters and also a lot of posters given by the Pusat Unit Kerjaya and Counselling, sharing tips about well-being and so on. Okay, so make sure that we check out these posters. Okay, sometimes when we get email, kita just click, delete without reading it. so we have to, you know, like see what is actually available. Okay, for Faculty of Medicine, we are lucky because for Faculty of Medicine, Dental, we have counsellors, we have clinical psychologists, we have psychiatrists in one place. So students have options whether to reach out to counsellors or whether they want to reach out to clinical psychologists. And even students also have mentors. I mean, I'm talking about general university students. They have an academic mentor assigned to them. Okay, so they can reach out to their academic mentor. They have supervisor. So they have few options here. So it depends on whoever that you feel comfortable talking to. It's not necessarily your academic supervisor or mentor, even any lecturer that you feel comfortable, you can always reach out to them. Okay, and if the lecturer don't know what to do, how to help. You can reach out to the counselor. You can reach out to psychologists. Sometimes my colleague call me and ask, hey Azlina, I have this, my mentee having this problem, blah, blah, blah. What can I do? What can I advise her? Can she come and see you? Can she make appointment? I said, yeah, sure, why not? Okay. So make use of all these services available. So you have counselor, you have mentor, you have your supervisor. Just reach out to them. And then even if we don't know how to help, we also can reach out to other people. I also sometimes ask my colleague how to handle certain situation. We discuss this a lot, okay? And then, but sometimes students concerned about confidentiality. This is a valid issue, okay? They concerned about confidentiality. What if I tell this person or this counselor or this psychologist and then everyone know about my condition and so on? Okay, by right it shouldn't be happening, because we know that whatever that being shared, that is confidential. Okay, as a university in general, probably what we can do, the ideally is actually to do a need assessment. A need assessment, okay. Like I also share with you, I involved in providing volunteer work with Mercy Malaysia. The first thing we do before we provide mental health support is to do a need assessment. Need assessment meaning that we identify the population that we want to serve, and then we identify what is actually the problem or the issue. Is it financial? Is it food? Okay. Is it things like laptop or internet connection and things like that? So once we identify, when we do a survey, a need assessment, so we know what is it that student need, okay, then we try to find resources, how to address this need. Okay, let me share you about what happened when I give my, when I provide volunteer work in, during a flood, a big flood in Kelantan. Okay, I think everyone know, a lot of people, a lot of NGOs, even individual want to help. So they send a lot of things, clothes, all these beras, food, canned food and everything. But a lot of clothes actually not being used because there are too many clothes. Too many clothes being given. So they don't need that. Okay, so they say, oh, okay, probably because they want food. So they send beras. What is beras in English? I also cannot. They send uncooked rice. Okay, but that also cannot be used because nobody think about sending them a pot or a gas or dapur for them to cook. So you give uncooked rice, how they're going to cook it? Okay, so that's why need assessment is very important. We think that they need certain thing, but maybe that is not what they want. So it's very good for the university to do this need assessment to see what are their problem, what is their concern, what is it that they need. Maybe they don't need anything, but what they need is reassurance. Maybe what they need is actually a timely update about the situation, a timely update about, okay, what can we do? What can we, what university is doing or planning to do? And as a student, what do we need to do? So that can give them reassurance instead of they reach out and call, nobody pick up the phone because it's work from home. It can be very frustrating. You call, you want to ask, but there's nobody there. Okay, you feel upset, you feel angry, then you start being a keyboard warrior and start lashing out in the social media and cause a lot of problem later on. So that is my opinion, or my I think what needs to be done. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, probably I could add on to what Dr. Azlina have just mentioned. Actually, we are already in a crisis situation where the crisis intervention team need to be what you call that developed, or at least we have to put up a team, crisis intervention team, whereby it is comprising social workers, the psychologists, the counselors, the psychiatrists, probably even the security forces, all that has to come in. It has to be in a well-structured manner that and is complementary and to synergize for the benefit of those who are in need of or who are in the crisis situation. Right now, many NGOs are providing help and need at home and also in silo. It's not coordinated, it's not structured. So that is where sometimes you find too much food being provided instead of if it is more well structured, then it can be well disseminated and distributed. That can be really beneficial to those who are in need, so that there won't be any wastage as well. Yeah. So I do agree. You need to have that need assessment so that you know what kind of support and need that has to be given to which population or and so on.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Shahril. I agree on that actually, because I am also very much into voluntary works. Those are the factors that I look into, and I always give advice to those who come and seek advice to me as per what to provide to those in need. Another factor that they have forgotten is about giving aids on a one-time off basis. Whenever there's a viral of a family who need help, everybody will zoom in and loaded them with all the aids. However, they don't help. They have forgotten about the other perspective, and also the aids will stop at that particular time. After 6 months, then the family will be left again back to square one. Okay, moving forward, we still hopes that the viewers can share your ideas or your comments or even questions if there are things, matters that have not been touched as at now. But moving forward, I would love to ask any of our panel, perhaps Prof. Shahril can start with, on what are the coping skills that we can have. For those who have psychology knowledge, counseling knowledge, or even counseling skills, coping skills will not be that difficult. But for those who are laymen, may find it valuable if we can share with them the coping skills whenever they felt that they are actually off balance of their self-love and self-compassionate.
Okay. This I think brings us to the topic of therapy, self-therapy as a coping mechanism. So we need to ask ourselves, what are your own therapies? Do you have any therapy that at least help to soothe and calm you down when you are in difficulty, when you are anxious, when you are in fear? What would you do at least to calm your nerves? Okay, is there any activity that you can indulge in on your own? Yeah, that you can focus on, so much so that your mind is diverted from the issue that is bugging you, so that there is a relief, temporary relief from the issues that bother you. Okay, so there are many self-therapies that actually we can engage in. Yeah, some people draw, some people doodle, some people they write, and it can be therapeutic. When therapeutic, that means at least you let it out, you get it out of your system, bodily system. You put it on paper, you put it on the canvas, you draw. Some people engage in sports, but during the pandemic, What are the indoor activities that can be therapeutic to us? Some people
Zumba.
bake, some people cook, you know, it can be sewing, it can be, so we have to be creative in that sense, so much so that we now when we talk about therapy, at least there is a focus. Yeah, there is a focus, and we are interested in doing it, and we feel relief. Yeah, and at least for that moment for that moment, the issues that bother us are put aside. You know, that will energize us to a certain extent, so that once we have gathered our strength, we can attend to issues that are bothering us. Okay, so find your therapy. Gardening, that is my therapy. Okay, so some pet therapy, you can have pets. Yeah, well, yeah, you name it. There are so many therapies that we can really get into, so that that would help us to cope. We need it. Otherwise, we may be on a spiraling down journey, and that won't be good.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. We received 4 questions from the viewers. If I can just throw this out to our 2 panelists, we'll see who would be comfortable to answer the questions or the remarks. From No IUKL, basic needs for continuing life and educational need both are equally important, making some parents depressed. Maybe something doctor wants to say about this. Thank you. Do you
I
want me
missed,
to read everything
Azlina, I
or
missed the first part actually.
okay?
Okay. So maybe I answer that.
Yeah,
Okay, sure.
please.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I agree. Basic needs is very important. Like Prof. Hasli mentioned just now, if you look at the hierarchy of needs, basic needs is the first one that we need to fulfill before we talk about having a house, having a partner, and so on. So these basic needs means food, water. Okay, so these are the basic things. If you if you are struggle financially and you need help, please reach out. Okay, there's a lot of organization out there, and also government institution who provide this help. I don't have the information, but what I can remember, we used to have this bakul makanan from Jabatan Kebajikan, and then you can reach out to Mercy Malaysia, maybe. Okay, because I active with Mercy Malaysia, so you can call Mercy Malaysia and you can always ask. Okay, they can direct you to the organization, the NGO that can provide you with this kind of aid or bantuan lah. Okay. Um, so the thing is, macam sometimes we don't know what is actually available, what is actually provided or offered by the government. You know, previously we have this ICNAR, and then there are a lot of things. So probably you you can seek this information, or and it's good if it is about education need. Okay, I'm not really sure what kind of education need. Like, are you talking about mobile phone for the kids to, or laptop for them to study, because online learning, you know, like everyone need a laptop, everyone need a phone. But if I remember correctly, Maxis, yes, they have this plan for B40 to actually apply, where they give you free SIM card, and also depending on your eligibility, you can also get a phone. Of course, it's not like Apple or things like that. Okay, but something, at least something that you can use for free, okay, for these educational purposes. So this kind of thing, we need to, like, you know, like ask around or Google and see what are the things that probably we can apply and see whether we are eligible to get it or not. Okay, if I understand this correctly, yeah, making some parent depressed. Okay, yeah. I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, I think we also acknowledge the fact that it's a tough and rough time now that to make ends meet. I mean, there are so many basic needs that we need to really struggle to fulfill. Uh, our children's education needs, that needs money. Actually, it's all about money. How to get the money in, to provide the gadgets, yeah, to get the internet, Wi-Fi, and whatnot. And also, if you have 5 kids and they are all on online classes, how are you going to provide for them the laptops and so on? Are you able to provide each and every one of them a laptop, or do they have to share? And if their schedule overlap, how are you going to overcome? So these are potential for conflicts if it's not managed well. So yeah, as I started the talk, I talk about being broke and broken. So many families are already broke. Their savings have already been gone. No more savings. They are already really in hardship. They are struggling to get money, and hopefully they do not resort to any illegal or unlawful way of getting money. A few cases that we read on the papers, yeah, that some parents have to uh, commit small thefts just to get food, milk for the babies. So those are really, I feel touched when we read cases like that. Yeah, so we have come to a situation where some individuals, some family have to resort to such criminal acts to provide food for the family, to their babies, and so on. So
Yeah.
being broke is one thing. Being broken, if you are not broken, you are still okay. You are still cool, calm, and collected to find ways to work things out. But if you are broke and also broken, wow, that is going to be a long call.
Yeah, I think the key words is to reach out. To those who are listening to our webinar now, those who have problems in physical needs, you can actually reach out to us. You can reach out to all the NGOs, because I know that Malaysians are very generous. You can see at social media, you can see at TV, you can see at everywhere people are giving aids to people. So it's just a matter of reaching out. I'm sure when there's connectedness, meaning you found the person who can help you, inshallah, we will be able to improve things. Okay. So coming to the second,
Datin,
yeah.
maybe I can add, if
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure whether this is something that can be done by Pusat Pengajian Siswaza.
Yeah,
If,
that's what
if
I'm about to touch on that
ah
as well.
yeah,
Okay.
if you can, like collect all this information, make all this
Yeah.
information available, have a database so that it's easy whenever a student reach out and say, oh, I have problem with my financial, so you can redirect the student when you have all the data available. Or maybe you can call this number. Or you can. It's not like you have the Pusat Pengajian Siswaza have to do it on behalf of the student, because we are talking about empowerment. But having this data available is really helpful, because you
Yeah.
can guide them. Okay, this is where you need to go. This is where you need to go for this
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Correct. We can be the moderator and to facilitate the assistance, right?
Yes, and also
Okay.
if I may add about the stress when it comes to education, because sometimes parent we have to manage our expectation. Don't expect that our children will pay attention during the online classes. If sometimes they feel lazy and things like that, give them a break. Even we attending a class online, also we as an adult having difficulty to sustain our attention. So put our expectation right and appropriately. Like, don't push them to like, oh, you have to attend to every class, oh, you have to submit all your homework, oh, you have to, even my friend also struggle to the extent sometimes they say, I don't want to think about it too much. I don't want to pressure my kids too much. So by taking that approach, they feel much more relief.
I strongly agree with that. Basically, because expectation is the main source of unhappiness.
Yeah. Correct. Okay. So shall we go to the next questions from SAS, SEZ? I am always scared to read the supervisor's WhatsApp chat as I'm a postgraduate student. Is it considered as severe anxiety as I'm very introvert person? And can the faculty counsellors or the unit kerjaya counsellors can help in this, or I need to go straight to the clinic kesihatan and seek help for psychiatrist? Dr. Alvina?
I already answered in the chat box.
Okay, all right.
Okay, first of all, be careful not to diagnose yourself with any mental disorder. Okay, you probably have, but don't say that, I think I have this, I think I have that. Okay, and short answer from me, there's no harm to reach out. Okay, you can always call the unit counselling, talk to someone. Okay, and if the counsellor think that, I believe the counsellor have the knowledge to actually advise you, okay, what is it that you need to be done. I think this is all about perception. We know that anxiety is caused by the fear, the unreasonable fear. You think of something that not yet happened. That's why you nampak when you see a WhatsApp, everything, the negative thoughts start coming into your mind. What is going on? Maybe asking for this, maybe asking for that. So that make you don't want to check the WhatsApp, don't want to check the email. Okay, so it's all about perception. So talking to a counselor will help you to change your perception and things like that. If the counselor think that this is something that's severe and need further help, the counselor can refer to psychologist or psychiatrist, or you can ask a referral from the counselor to see psychiatrist or psychologist. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dr.
Yeah.
Alvina. Professor?
Yeah,
Prof?
I agree with you that it's all about perception. For a supervisor to text and reach out to the supervisee, that shows that the supervisor care and concern about the supervisee's progress. Of course, the choice of words and now is important so that it's not like stress enhancing kind of you're pressing the student, you're pressurizing the student. Yeah, that shouldn't be the way. It's a matter of tactfully ask about the supervisee's progress and so on, and what kind of support and assistance that's needed. So on the other hand, the students actually should perceive it positively that, oh, my supervisor actually care so much about me. Instead of, if you get a supervisor who MIA, who don't
Yeah.
even care whether you are around or not. The supervisors just don't care. So which would you prefer? Which would you appreciate? A supervisor who texts you to ask about your situation, but you perceive it negatively, that is the pressure on you, or you want a supervisor who don't really care about you. So that would be a quick fix lah for such student.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we have another question. How to overcome the stress when using ODL during MCO? Anonymous. I think this is a general question. Majority of them are facing this. Maybe postgraduate, undergraduate, school students. How do you
Even the
overcome
lecturers are
this?
stressed. ODL.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if I can answer this question, how to overcome the stress when using ODL, if we talk about university student, postgrad student, I think the good thing about ODL is that, yeah, you can off your camera and then you can have your breakfast while listening to the lecture. You can lie down while listening to the lecture. You can do a lot of things, you know, like you don't you cut you you don't have to travel to the university to attend the lecture. So I'm talking about the university student. Um, if you talk about school children, yeah, I mean, there's. I think it's okay. I'm not sure whether like the teacher, um, it is compulsory for the student to on the camera during the class or things like that. I think even school also not that strict. I'm not sure. You know, like try to do something to release your tension, and between the breaks you can stretch, you can, I don't know, do whatever that to refresh yourself before you attend to the next lecture or next class. So I guess the way that we deal with this online thing um, is different from one person to another, but don't limit yourself into, oh, I have to sit down in front of the laptop for 2 hours, 3 hours, you know, and I have to concentrate. I have to give full concentration, and of course we have to know there's a pro and cons of this approach. So again, expectation is something that we need to know how to handle. Maybe Prof can have other advice.
Yeah, I think regarding this matter, we have the choice whether we want to augment and magnify the strength of ODL or otherwise. If we want to magnify the positives of positivity of ODL, that will make, how would you feel? You look at the bright side. But if you want to focus on the negativity, the negative, the weaknesses, what kind of feelings would emote? So actually, we do have a choice there. We want to, you know, embrace the positivity of ODL, or we want to discount the positivity. Instead, we blow up the negativity of it. So we do have a choice there. Simply put, look up for inspiration, look down for satisfaction. Meaning, we look down, meaning there are so many people down there who don't have even the facilities to have all ODL, but we do have it. So at least we feel relief that we still can go on with ODL. Some people just simply cannot go on. However, do be careful the choice of words and also the tone of voice that we send out these messages, because we don't want to sound like toxic positivity. Okay, so you are trying to say about something, but they just cannot accept it because the way you put forward the voice that you use, they just repel, they just reject. They say, "Pamola, you don't talk to me." You know, they don't buy it. You're talking about, you're giving positive advice, but they don't buy it. So how do you? That is where readiness and preparedness, communication skill is very important, so that you are able to put forward those positive messages that the recipient, the person who listen to, the listener will buy in instead of reject. If it's rejected, it becomes toxic positivity.
Oh, there's such thing as toxic positivity. Yeah,
There
toxic
is
is very negative, but positive is
positive things.
yeah, it is a new thing to me. Okay, there's also a question, doctor. When do we know that we need help? I had some seasonal anxiety attack when things are too much, but will stop having them for some time when things are a bit calm. And this process keeps repeating in different time frame. What would you suggest me to do?
Okay.
Wow.
All right. Of course. This is why you say that this is seasonal, because when there's an occasion, there's a trigger, then you're experiencing this. Okay. There's no harm again to seek help, early help. will give a good prognosis. Prognosis is the outcome of your condition. If you wait until your condition is severe, then you may take longer time for you to recover or overcome your difficulty. So it shows that probably when things get harder and then that's where you experience this anxiety, maybe you need to think of a new coping mechanism, a new way to cope, so that this does not reoccur in the future, so that you can find a way, a better way to cope the situation or handle the situation, so that you don't go into the cycle of, you know, things happen, you feel anxious, then things get better, you feel okay, and then things happen again, you feel anxious again. So my advice, it's okay, seek help. Okay, not necessarily the doctor will say, oh, you have anxiety. There are times where cases being referred to me, and then when they say, do I have depression? So I will say, well, considering your condition right now, it's not that bad to say that you have depression, but you do need to talk about your problem, you know, and then, so we just talk. So not all my patients actually on medication, and not everyone being diagnosed. Like sometimes we just give supportive therapy and things like that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you,
Okay,
Dr.
may
Yes,
I add
Prof.
on to what Dr. Azlina have shared? First and foremost, I would give positive reinforcement to the person who asked the question, meaning at least she is aware of her condition and situation. That is a positive thing. She is aware. Okay, so being aware of your situation is already a good start. Okay, and she is also aware that this is seasonal, this is predictable, this is anticipated. I mean, you can anticipate this is going to happen. So the next step to work on would be how to proact, to preempt. Okay, so what are the proactive measures that can be discussed and worked out together so that the recurrence will be minimized? That is how I would approach it.
Okay, thank you, Prof. This is a very good sharing by someone anonymous. I was all energetic towards life before. I have everything that people are wishing for. A stable job, financially secured, beautiful, happy family, and a very go-getter type of person. Never had any life failure experience before. I was very objective. I planned my life until I lost one person that I am still grieving till now. I lost interest in life until clinically diagnosed with mental health illness. With all the prescribed drugs, I am still struggling how to find therapy if I struggle to drag myself to fulfill even the basic life needs.
Okay, so if I understand it correctly, so this person has seen a psychiatrist and being prescribed with medication. Okay,
Okay.
I'm not sure whether she's the person been referred to counselor or clinical psychologist as well, because we know that medication helps, but research show that a combination of medication and psychotherapy will give a better outcome. Um, so, because the thing is, okay, psychiatrists, their main task is actually to prescribe medication and make sure that patient compliance to the medication, take the medication regularly. And the symptoms, they treat the symptoms, usually, the symptoms of the condition. Okay, so you come and you came to see them and say that, oh, I cannot sleep, I have this. Okay, take this medication. So that medication will help you to sleep, will help you to to feel more relaxed and so on. But it does not solve the problem, the root cause of the problem. So
Dr. Azina,
yeah,
the person that we were referring to just now, actually she lost her mom. I
okay,
relied heavily on her all this while with regards to my life decision and everything. Now she's
Yes.
gone. I am all over the place. Total failure.
Yes, of course. Okay, so when you lost someone, of course you will feel you feel alone, lonely. There's no one for you to depend on, seek advice that you used to. So that's why I say it is more important. It is important to seek psychotherapy. Okay, you can see counselor. There's this thing called grief counseling. Okay, where you seek help. You talk about your loss. Okay, the counselor, the psychologist will help you to process what's the event that happens in your life. Okay, because like I mentioned just now, psychiatrists give medication. Medication help with the symptom, um, but not they won't dig further, and they unlikely they will dig further into the problem and talk about it, because uh, psychiatry session usually not long. Okay, but counselor, psychologist, we spend about 1 hour for one patient to talk about things, to talk about their concern. Okay, so the approach is different. So I would advise, if this person has yet to be referred to psychology or counselor, you can ask for it and try this approach to help you to process. Yeah.
Dr. Datin,
Yeah.
for that case, I would assume that the individual is not broke, but is broken. Financially, she is still all right, stable. Am I right?
That was, yeah, but that was before. But I guess what is more important, yeah, she's broken because she have lost
Yeah,
her
okay.
mother. Yeah.
So the issue here is about grief, okay? Grieving over the loss of a loved one, her mother. Yeah, that can be a huge blow. More so if the loss is a sudden loss, sudden death. You know, if it's because of illness, at least there is this period of time where you
Yeah.
prepare, you get yourself ready to face the loss. So if it's a sudden death, is more tragic. You are caught unprepared, and we do not know what the actual situation was. However, this is where the grieving process, if the grieving process is not completed, meaning it will come to a complete process if she comes to the level of acceptance. Okay, the level of acceptance. So if the individual is a Muslim, then it's about keredoan, redha. So if she hasn't, if she's still on the way to achieve keredaan, the struggle is still there. But the quicker to achieve that keredaan, the better it is for her. So that can be worked out with a counselor or a psychologist, even without medication. But now that she's on medication, she has to go on with it and slowly wean it off if her situation is already more stabilized and more in control.
All right. Thank you very much. Can I add on? If possible, we understand, we feel you that you have lost your mother. What is important is reach out. Yeah, reach out, and you need to speak to people. You have to have support actually. Normally support will help you to remind you that you are not alone. You will always have someone to depend to, a shoulder to cry on. Okay, there's a note also
Can I add
another.
on, Dr. Datin? I
Yes,
mean,
Prof. Sharil.
I think there is a lesson to be learned also from that episode. You know, we are talking about parenting issues as well. Okay, so as parents, how do we prepare our children when the day come when we are no more with them? So these are, I mean, one of the basic or ultimate objective of parenting is to ensure our children can be independent, can be autonomous when the time comes. When they reach the age, when they are into adulthood, they can be independent, both in terms of their living and also their life. They are able to make a living and they can also live a life, a meaningful life. So that is maybe that is something that we need to remind ourselves as parents. We need to prepare. Even though everything seems to go well, we still need to empower our children so that when the time comes, they can live, they can earn a living of their own and they can manage their own life.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof. Shahril. And I guess this is our last question. Not sure if we have any more, but I have here, is there any suggestions what can be done in this moment for postgraduate students to stay motivated where their work totally interrupted and until today nothing can be continued?
I feel for them lah. I mean, yeah, they have the timeline, to adhere to, especially those who are on scholarship, sponsored students. They have to meet the deadline, so it's a huge struggle. I am with you, okay? So, however, if we were to keep on lamenting on the current situation, or the negativity will grip us so much so that we will be like paralyzed, we are like immobilized, we are not going to do anything. That will worsen the situation. We have the choice, actually. I'm not giving advice here, but that is the situation. Do you love yourself? Do you want to let the situation really take control over you, or you want to take control over the situation? So if you want to take control over the situation, yeah, come talk to us, counselors or psychologists. Inshallah, we will be able to help you to see, to look, to help you to understand yourself, your situation, and what are the resources available that you can make make full use of whatever that's available around you that will benefit you. I think it's not easy to just answer online like this, but to talk it over in person will be more useful. However, that is a brief description of what can be done.
Dr. Azina, anything that you wish to share?
I already give my brief answer here. To keep motivated, I know that it's hard, it's difficult, but try to keep yourself moving. Okay, break your task into smaller tasks. Okay, don't aim about completing or writing one whole chapter. Although that is your aim for this week, for example, but break it into a smaller task, meaning that, okay, today I'm going to write half paragraph or half page of this. Okay, tomorrow another half page, half page and half page. So when you break your task into smaller tasks, you get that sense of achievement. Okay, you feel confident because you managed to achieve that. So you feel great. So you feel that this is doable. This is something that you can do. Okay, something that you can achieve. So when you feel good, it gives you confidence to move forward. So it is important to break your task into smaller tasks and also try to stick to your schedule. Okay, when we work, we have to have a schedule. Okay, that is the importance of Gantt chart. It helps you to manage your time properly. Okay, but you have to remember, don't be too rigid as well. Okay, for example, you cannot go for data collection, but you can always do your writing, right? You have other things that you can do. You can write your chapter 1, you can rewrite your chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Okay, you can change the words so that it sounds more academic and more bombastic and easier to understand. You can simplify whatever. You can do a framework, or you can, when I did my PhD, when I don't have a mood to do a reading, to write or to read journal, the least I can do is to check my data entry, or maybe just go online and seek for papers. Like you just do the search, the clerical work, I call that. Okay, because that does not need an effort where you need your critical thinking in order to do that. But it is important for your study as well, looking for literature search, like organizing your chapters. So these are the things that will help you moving and also make you feel good and make you feel like, oh, I'm doing something that is related to my study and my PhD. Okay, and
Alright.
remember to take a break in between as well.
Yeah. If I may add, because I am also in the same shoes, I'm doing my DBA now, about to start my research. I noticed that for UiTM, there are so many webinars sharing on how to write, how to produce good research, and similar topics. What I could feel is, and I had experience before, whenever I felt demotivated, I will run back all the recordings, and whenever you listen, after you finish listening, you will become motivated. It's just like Botox injection for you to stay motivated. Okay, I have two questions. I'm not sure whether we can answer this, but let me read both questions, and perhaps our panelists can answer conclusively. Number one, from Mr. Zarawi. We can see that mental issue is also public issue. As a counselor, how can we empower them to make them able to reduce mental health problem? Okay, one question. Second question, good morning, doctor. I would like to ask how to manage my anxiousness, as it sometimes affects my confidence and motivation level, especially when I have important events such as conferences, etc. I sometimes have problems sleeping at night because I think too much. I try to stop thinking, but it's hard. And one last question by Malin. Salam panelists, could you please share if there is any digital platform like chat, WhatsApp, for public to reach out or seek help if one needs to share, discuss on certain matter? So I would like to call both panelists to take turn to try to summarize your answer to these three questions.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, about the public awareness of mental health, and also how do we empower the public about mental health issues. Now, I think it's a good thing that mental health has been highlighted in the public domain, the mass media and social media. And yeah, as I mentioned earlier on, the physiological needs are easier to handle, to manage. So long as we have the money, most of those physiological needs can be overcome. However, psychological well-being, psychological needs, these are the abstract issues, abstract things that the public are beginning to be aware of, are beginning to see the importance of it. If we want to lead a happy life, yeah, I mean, you can the importance of psychological well-being, I mean, is really being emphasized now, and the mental health awareness is also being promoted. So it is a good start. First and foremost, I think we need to inculcate the public about self-love and self-compassion. That has to be driven home to everyone. Please love yourself. Please be compassionate about yourself. When you love yourself, that means you would take care of yourself. You would not do anything that harm yourself. Yeah, you would not engage in activities that would bring that would not benefit you. So that is something that I would really drive home the point about self-love, self-compassion that is related to self-care. Now, when you, I mean, self-love and self-compassion, it can be expanded to even to what you eat. You wouldn't eat something that harm you. Okay, so in terms of food, your lifestyle, okay, your thinking, your psychological well-being, I mean about your thoughts, your feelings, and also your behavior. How do you use this mechanism of self-love and self-compassion to regulate, yeah, to navigate your life journey so that you are always an asset to yourself, to your family, and also to the society.
Dr. Adlina?
I think Prof dah explain quite well about that. Maybe I go to the next question, I guess. For Malin, about digital platform, I share in the chat box the one that I know, Mercy Malaysia Psychosocial Hotline. You can also reach out to Relate Malaysia. You can reach out to MIASA. These are example of NGO or that you can use, and I believe there's a lot more.
Yeah, perhaps after this we can work together. Also to furnish IPSIS, the Postgraduate Institute, list of NGOs and groups that can offer assistance, may it be in terms of mental health, counselling, or even needs. Then perhaps IPSIS can assist whoever wish to need this information to directly liaise with them. Okay.
I think one more question, Datin, about how to manage my anxiety.
Anxiousness as
this
it
is
affects
during
the confidence and motivation level.
yeah. Okay, it's normal to feel anxious when you have to give a presentation, when you have to give a talk like this. Okay, it's normal if you have sleep difficulty and so on. But be sure that you're able to control all this, because stress, there are two types of stress: a good stress and a bad stress. A good stress motivates you, helps you to prepare, but a bad stress, it hinder you from performing and do what you need to do. Okay, so make sure whether the stress that you experience is something that is a good stress, meaning that it motivate you, help you to prepare about your presentation and so on. Because if you don't feel stress, you don't prepare.
True.
But when you feel stress, only you will prepare and find information. But after you've done all the preparation, remind yourself, if you still feel anxious, just remind yourself that I've done what I can do. You know, I've read about this thing, I prepare my slide, I went through my slide, I practice it already. Okay, that should be that is enough for me. Okay, I cannot ensure or I cannot guarantee that the audience will like me. Okay, I cannot guarantee that everyone will be happy about my presentation and so on, but that's okay. I'm still learning. Okay, I'm still learning. I will improve myself. So knowing what you have done, what you to prepare yourself, and then expect that, you know, this is not perfect. There's no such thing as perfect in this world. Okay,
Exactly.
so yeah, that will help you to manage your anxiety. You
Yeah.
know, there's no point you try to control something that is in the future, because you know for sure that you cannot control it. Just imagine you're very anxious about the talk tomorrow, for example, okay, or your presentation tomorrow. You cannot sleep for the past 4 days thinking about, oh, my presentation on Monday, and Monday comes. Okay, dear student, we will postpone our presentation because of we have this. So how would you feel? You will feel like, I haven't been sleeping for the past 4 days. You know, that's why I said try to focus on things that you can control. Things that you cannot control, don't try to control it, because you will never be able to control it. Thank you.
Okay. Alhamdulillah, we have come to the end of the webinar. We have another 5 minutes. I wish to give 1 or 2 minutes to each of our panelists to sum up their thoughts and knowledge, experience on the topic that we have today, which is mental health awareness in the time of COVID-19. So shall we start with Prof. Shahril?
Okay, thank you. Now, this is a time I think we need to really rekindle humanity. When I talk about humanity, I'm talking about being love and compassionate to yourself and to others. Okay, being loving and compassionate to yourself and to others. That's one. Humanity is also about doing kindness, being kind to yourself and being kind to others. Okay, and then next should be merciful to yourself and be merciful to others. All right, and lastly is to be gracious to yourself and gracious to others. So to enhance, when we talk about humanity, which is the core issue about mental health now, when people get dehumanized, definitely their mental health condition will be badly affected. Okay, now when we talk about humanity, we can't run away from talking about being humility, humble, humility, as well as civility, being civil. Okay, so this is like a trilogy: humanity, humility, and civility. If we can rekindle, enhance humanity, inshallah, we can help people to develop their psychological toughness, their psychological grit, G-R-I-T, and also their psychological agility. They are agile. They are able to maneuver. They are able to respond, react in a situation that they still maintain their balance. They still able to keep their motivation level up. They still can perform normally, so that they will be beneficial to self and others. So it's a matter of self-care. Yeah, it's a matter of self-management, self-monitoring, self-regulating, so that we are able to maintain our personal functioning level, yeah, and to perform our roles and responsibility more so as a caliphate, yeah, according to our religion, so that we can at least carry out our role as a caliphate. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Shahril. Can we have Dr. Alvina?
What was the question again, Datin?
No.
Last words.
Your last words, your concluding remarks.
My last word. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Don't be too hard on yourself. Okay, we are being human. We have
Be
flaws.
merciful. Be merciful.
Yes, be merciful. Okay, we have our own strength and we have our own weaknesses as well. So we need to acknowledge that. Okay, we need to embrace our strength and also embrace our weaknesses. If we need help, if we are struggling, always reach out. Okay, and it's good to reach out to the professional. Okay, don't always think about the risks. The pro and cons. If you don't seek help, how does that help you? Okay, so you want to help yourself better, you want to be a better person, you want to improve your quality of life, which is very important. Okay, not only for you but also for people around you, for your family. Okay, because when you struggle, when you are in pain, those who care about you also can feel the pain. They also struggle. So it's not only about yourself but also about other people. So seek help and see from there how that action of yours can change your life. Yeah.
Okay, and lastly, during this pandemic, definitely we understand the challenges, the difficulties that we have to grapple with. However, despite all that, we still have to strive to earn a living and live a life.
Thank you to our two panelists. Professor Dr. Hasli Sharil Abdullah and Dr. Adinawati. Before I end the session, may I recap, do some conclusion from what I understand from both panelists. It is very important and it has been repeatedly all over again many times about self-love, self-compassion. It's very important that we know ourselves, because when we manage to identify our strengths and weaknesses, as per Dr. Adina said, we should embrace them. The strength, the opportunity that we have, and it is also crucial at this pandemic, being locked down for more than 1.5 years. It's important for us to identify our mental health. Reach out to friends, reach out to family members, reach out to NGOs, those counselors, if you need help. Life is about choice. It's for you to decide whether you want to take it or you want to drop it. Find your coping skills. Drink plenty of water. Practice breathing exercise, because breathing exercise can also reduce your anxiousness, can also reduce your stress. Also look into what are your food that you take, particularly now. Always look into the positive side in life. You have choice. There are always positive, there are always negative things. Life is about choice, so always look at things on the positive perspective. Those who live with family, please take this opportunity to practice stroke, hugs, touch, and perhaps this is the best moment for you to improve your relationship. Trust me, if you improve your relationship with your family, you will become happier. And last but not least, please screen what you read, what you watch, what you listen from your social media. May it be Twitter, may it be WhatsApp, may it be Snapchat, FB, or even the electronic media. Because not all things that you have to read. Screen them. Once you know yourself, once you have your self-love, your self-compassion, you have your merciful, you will be able to understand these are things that you should just put aside and don't read or don't forward. Last but not least, thank you very much to all viewers. Hope that this session, this webinar will be very useful, beneficial, fruitful to all of us to proceed with life and be healthier in mental health. Thank you so much to our two panelists, to our organizer, which is IPSIS. May Allah bless all of us. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.
Well done, Datin.
Well done, Prof. Sharil, my lecturer. For this off record already, right? Hello.